Your brain is having conversations you never actually had. And there's a deep psychological reason you simply cannot stop. Right now, someone watching this is mentally rehearsing an argument with a person who isn't even in the room. Maybe it happened at work today. Maybe it was something someone said 3 years ago that still hasn't left you. Maybe it's a conversation you're dreading having tomorrow, and your mind is already running through every possible way it could go wrong. And maybe, just maybe, it's happening to you right now, in the shower, on a late-night walk with your headphones in, lying in bed at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling, when suddenly out of nowhere, your brain pulls up a scene. You're explaining yourself perfectly, delivering the comeback you never got to say in the moment, defending your choices to someone who doubted you. Or maybe you're imagining a future version of your life, the version where everything finally clicks into place, where the hard work pays off, where the people who underestimated you finally understand. None of it is real. It never happened. It might never happen. But your heart rate, your emotions, the tension in your chest, or the flutter of excitement in your stomach, your body has absolutely no idea it's not real. It responds as if every single word of that imaginary conversation is happening right now. If any of that sounds familiar, comment the word ME right now. You are going to be genuinely surprised by how many people are trapped in the exact same mental loop, living out the same invisible conversations, fighting the same imaginary battles night after night. And if this kind of content speaks to you, hit subscribe because everything on this channel is built around understanding the deeper patterns of the human mind that most people never notice in themselves. Psychologists have a name for what happens when your brain runs these kinds of mental scenes. They call it mental simulation. And the more researchers study it, the more they realize it is not random, not unusual, and certainly not a sign that something is wrong with you. In fact, it is one of the most sophisticated things the human brain does. Your brain is not a passive organ. It does not simply wait for things to happen and then react. Instead, it is constantly running projections, forecasting possibilities, modeling situations before they occur so that when reality arrives, you are already partially prepared for it. Think of it like a flight simulator. Before a pilot ever sits in a real cockpit, they spend hundreds of hours in a simulator, practicing responses to emergencies, building instinct for situations they have not yet encountered in real life. The simulator is not real, but the preparation it creates is absolutely real. Your brain does this automatically, without you asking, without you even realizing it is happening. Every time you mentally rehearse a conversation, replay a past interaction, or imagine a future scenario, you are sitting inside your own internal flight simulator. And here is what makes this truly fascinating. Your brain cannot fully distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Neurologically, many of the same regions that activate during a real emotional experience also activate during an intensely imagined one. That is why imagining an argument can make you genuinely tense. That is why visualizing a future success can create real feelings of motivation and excitement. That is why replaying an embarrassing memory can make your face flush with heat even though the moment is long gone. Your nervous system is responding to a story your mind is telling it, and your mind tells those stories very convincingly. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. Not all imagined scenarios are created equal. Psychologists have identified 3 distinct patterns that show up again and again in people who frequently run these mental simulations, and understanding which one dominates your thinking can reveal a lot about what your mind is actually searching for. The first pattern is the argument replay. This is where you revisit a conversation that went wrong and rewrite it in your favor. This time you say exactly the right thing. Your point lands perfectly. The other person finally understands you, or at the very least, you walk away feeling like you won. These replays are almost never about the surface argument itself. They are about something much deeper. They are about feeling heard, feeling respected, feeling like your perspective actually matters. When someone dismisses you, misunderstands you, or talks over you in real life, the emotional wound doesn't close just because the conversation ended. Your mind keeps returning to it, replaying it, trying different responses, searching for the resolution that real life never gave you. The second pattern is the future success fantasy. This is where you imagine achieving something that deeply matters to you, getting the recognition you deserve, proving yourself to someone who doubted you, delivering a speech that leaves people speechless, landing the opportunity that changes everything. These scenarios feel energizing, and in small doses, they genuinely are. Research shows that positive visualization can increase motivation and improve performance. But there is a hidden danger here that most people never see coming. When the imagined version of success becomes more vivid, more satisfying, and more emotionally rewarding than actually working toward the real thing, imagination quietly shifts from being a fuel source into becoming an escape route. You get the emotional payoff without doing the work. And slowly, without realizing it, the simulation starts replacing the action. The third pattern is the worst-case spiral. This is where your mind does the opposite of fantasizing. Instead of imagining the best outcome, it obsessively rehearses the worst ones. What if they misunderstand me? What if I fail in front of everyone? What if I say the wrong thing and they never look at me the same way again? What if I try and it all falls apart? Your brain starts building detailed mental simulations of disasters that have not happened yet and might never happen at all. From the outside, this looks like pure anxiety. But psychologically, something more specific is happening. Your mind is trying to protect you by preparing you. If it can simulate the worst outcome in advance, it believes it can help you avoid it, survive it, or at least not be blindsided by it. The problem is, the preparation never feels finished. There is always one more scenario to consider, one more potential disaster to plan for, and the mental loop never finds a clean stopping point. Now here is the deeper layer that connects all three patterns, and this is the part most people completely miss. People who frequently imagine fake scenarios almost always share one core psychological trait. Their brain is intensely focused on how other people perceive them, not because they are arrogant or attention-seeking, but because their mind is wired to analyze social situations with unusual depth and persistence. They are constantly processing, reprocessing, and searching for meaning in their interactions with others. So the brain creates imaginary conversations to do what real conversations often cannot: give you a sense of control, clarity, and resolution. In your imagination, you are in charge of everything. You say the right words. People respond the way you need them to. The situation unfolds with a logic and fairness that real life rarely delivers. And that feels good. It feels safe. Sometimes it feels better than reality itself. And that is exactly why some people find themselves spending more and more time inside these mental simulations. Not because they are running away from life, but because their imagination offers something their daily reality sometimes cannot. A world that makes sense, where their voice is heard, where outcomes feel fair, and responses feel clear. But here is the truth that changes everything. Imagination is not your enemy. It is one of the most powerful tools the human brain has ever developed. It is the foundation of creativity, planning, empathy, and problem-solving. Every great achievement in human history began as an imagined possibility in someone's mind before it became real. The issue is not that you imagine. The issue appears at the exact moment when imagination becomes a substitute for action, when the simulation starts to feel more real and more satisfying than actually engaging with your life. Because real growth does not happen in rehearsals. Real connection does not happen in imaginary conversations. The moments that actually change your life, that shape who you become, that heal old wounds and build new strength, those moments happen in reality. In the actual conversation you are afraid to have. In the real attempt that might fail. In the genuine interaction that you cannot control or predict or script in advance. So if you catch yourself lost in imaginary scenarios, do not judge yourself. Your brain is active, searching, processing. That is not weakness, that is depth. The only question worth sitting with is this: Is your imagination preparing you to show up more fully in your real life, or is it quietly giving you a place to hide from it? That question alone, if you answer it honestly, can shift everything. Comment below and tell me which of the three patterns you recognize most in yourself: the argument replay, the success fantasy, or the worst case spiral. And subscribe if you want to keep understanding the hidden mechanics of your own mind. There is so much more to explore.